What's up, fight fans? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Alright, so we've all heard the news now that David Haye will manage Dereck Chisora, which I think it's fair to say is a bit random. No one expected this. No one had a crystal ball and could see this coming. No way, ho, fucking zay. Not possible. These guys, it's fair to say, have had bad blood over the last few years. Obviously, that major issue in Dusseldorf, I don't know why I'm pointing there, but major issue in Dusseldorf. They had to fight Upton Park. I can point there now because Upton Park is just there. David Haye stopping Dereck Chisora in, was it the 5th or the 6th round? I can't remember. They seemed to be amicable after that. They seemed to be quite cool. Every time there was a fight, you know, a matchroom put on a show and they both were backstage, it seemed to be quite cool. And then this Joe Joyce thing came up and all the coolness went out the window. And it seemed to, it got to a point where I thought, are these guys going to get it on again? I thought, if Haye beats Bellew, is he going to fight Chisora for a quick payday? Honestly, it got to that point. And here we are now, fast forward 5 months, and Chisora will be managed by David Haye, which, if you're Chisora, I think makes a lot of sense. Chisora is what, 35, 36? At best, and at best, I think, if he fights guys in and around him, so guys in the top 25, top 15, top 20, whatever, he's probably got 3 or 4 fights left, maximum. That's maximum, maybe even 2 or 3 fights left. If you're in that predicament and you're Chisora, it's about time you maximize your income. It really is. It's about time that you make every single pound you can make. And he probably didn't think, I can do this with Steve Goodwin. He can do this with David Haye. Whether you like or don't like, and I know David Haye really does split opinions. Some people absolutely can't stand him. Some people think he's great for British boxing. I'm kind of in the middle. But whether you do or don't like him, David Haye is a trailblazer when it comes to British boxing. This guy promotes 90% of his own fights, or promoted, sorry. This guy had no manager for years. This guy was able to secure his own TV deal. This guy was able to sign off on pay-per-view events. This guy was able to negotiate his own purse. And we're not talking a purse of 200,000-300,000. We're talking a purse of millions. He done all this. David Haye. David Haye maximized his income to the fullest. So if you're going to need someone behind you to negotiate and maximize your income, I mean, you're not doing too bad getting David Haye on your team. Trust me, you're not doing too bad. He's been able to do it by himself for years. And not just do it to the point where it's not successful. He's been very successful at doing it. So I think getting David Haye on board is key. And remember, David Haye now works alongside Richard Schaefer as well. So I mean, there's a few experienced ears in that corner now when it comes to negotiating what probably will be Dereck Chisora's last 2 or 3 big paydays, especially if they're talking about the Dillian Whyte fight. If his name is still in the running for the Dillian Whyte fight, it's time for Dereck Chisora to use a bit of common sense and really get around the negotiating table and make a deal properly. Not do that bullshit he did with Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn and say, okay, Dillian, here's $5 million. It doesn't work like that. You're going on emotions now when you should think about your pocket, not your ego. So I think getting someone like David Haye on board makes sense. David Haye released a statement as well talking about this, saying that he wasn't really sure about working with Dereck Chisora, but he thinks, after seeing Dereck Chisora against Takam, there are things that they can be worked on. And one thing he mentioned was nutrition. He talked about Dereck Chisora needing a meal plan, talked about rest, talked about his physique, talked about his body. So Dereck Chisora isn't just getting help from David Haye financially and from a management standpoint. It looks like he's going to get some help as well when it comes to nutrition. And obviously David Haye's been working with that kid Tobias, I can't remember his name, for many years. So I think that guy will now transfer over to the Chisora team as well. So they're talking about a whole remodeling of Chisora. He's no longer going to be called Del Boy. So he's probably going to remove that from his Twitter handle. He's now called War Chisora, which is interesting. Who else was called War? Did Marvin Hagler not have hats with War on many years ago? I think he did as well. But look, I find the whole thing interesting. I think it's a plus for Dereck Chisora. I do think it's a win-win completely. For David Haye, I don't think it makes much difference. But for Chisora, I think it's important at this late stage of your career, if you can just tweak a few things. And it's weird because I've been watching Dillian Whyte on his Instagram, especially in the last 18 months, and Dillian Whyte has completely changed, whether it be his strength and conditioning, whether it be his meals, his diet is completely changed, and I think we've seen the performances go up just a couple of levels. If Dereck Chisora can just tweak a few things, not just the financial side, but the nutritional side as well, it can help him, right? It can help him. So as random as this is, and it is still very random, I think it makes complete sense for Chisora, and bravo to Dereck Chisora for reaching out to David Haye, because it was Chisora that reached out to David Haye and not Haye to Chisora. And I think it takes a man to realize that you need some assistance. And I think, although it is late in his career, he finally realized I need some assistance to capitalize on my potential, both in the ring and out of the ring. And yes, it is very late, but better late than never, people. Better late than fucking never.